unhappiest in the saddle.
A fellow sportsman.
I am an FBI agent!
Great Scott!
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria!
Come with me if you want to live.
Hello, and welcome to Retro Ramble. I'm Charlie McGee.
I'm George McGee.
So we are very privileged to have with us London's top crime podcaster, that is Andrew Hughes. Just as a glossary, we will be referring to him as Hughesy, probably most of the time.
Call sign Hughesy.
Call sign Hughesy. Hughesy, welcome back to the pod. So which episodes have you been on?
So I think we did The Rock first, right? We did The Rock first, and then we did Highlander.
I think we invited you on The Rock, but I think you were unable to
what
attend.
was the first one I did then?
We did invite you on The Rock, but I think you were you were too hungover to do it. So
That does not sound like me.
it does not sound like you.
He's a responsible adult.
So I believe the first one was during COVID. We did Highlander.
No, man.
no, Untouchables.
Untouchables was first.
Yes.
And then
It's Sean.
Highlander.
He's the Sean guy, Sean Connery. And then I feel like, did we not do a Tarantino together?
Yeah.
We did.
We did Kill Bill.
One and two.
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill. And that was when we were again on the road. We are again on the road all together. That's a warning. We are in the same room.
So apologies for acoustics. It is a little bit echoey in here.
That's three Geordies in the same room. What could possibly go wrong? So without further ado, let's tell you what we're going to be covering today. So we are traveling around and around and around in circles back to 1987.
You're so close. 1990.
1990. I was way off.
1990.
So we are not Sean Connery this time, but another actor that myself, George, and Hughesy all admire, love, and have watched many of his films, who recently got crowned with his first Oscar. It's Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder.
Also known as Top Gun in Cars.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that. Or Jour de tonnerre in French. I like how they did not, they just, for once, they just translated it. You know, so that's that. I'm happy about that because the French make some interesting choices. So it's an 80s film.
No. It's a 90s film.
We've just gone over this.
Sorry,
Johnny.
it's an 80s film. It's got an 80s vibe to it.
It does feel very much
It's
like
got an 80s touch to it.
Does it help if they started filming in 1989?
I was going to say, this film was produced in the 80s and it was released in the 90s.
Well played.
So, yeah, but this is a Bruckheimer.
Bruckheimer Simpson joint. Yeah, we'll get into it. So if you haven't listened to Retro Ramble before, you are in for a treat. So Retro Ramble, we are an independent film podcast. The purpose of this podcast is that Charlie and I, we are brothers and we look back at the films that we grew up with, how they were made, do they still stand up, have they been remade, spun off into a Netflix series. We'll be delving into the production backstories, looking at the film itself, having a bit of fun with it. It's a bit like spending time with an old friend. And indeed, in this episode, we are spending time with an old friend in our guest, Andy Hughes. But there is a warning. There will be probably some childish humor and some mild swearing. So please be careful if you have young people around whilst listening to this podcast.
Excellent. Always nice to warn people about what to come. We'll also try and keep the private jokes to a minimum. George and I are brothers. Hughesy is a brother from another mother. We've been through a lot together.
We have.
We'll try and keep the banter down. It is tough. So, George, I assume that you have a trailer ready. So we're going to launch that all over this episode in a moment. Has it got a voiceover guy? We hope it does. We'll see.
Let's find out.
Okay.
Let's roll the trailer.
Hold on a minute. Don't you think we ought to talk?
What, about how I'm gonna run? Sure.
About how you've managed to live as long as you have.
Think you can drive?
Oh, he can drive. He can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
Well, that's the difference between you and me. There's only so much I can do.
You want me to work the pit and you drive? You running good? Thank you. I will see how you do in a crowd. I was desperate to get your attention.
Well, you got it. I've walked into a jungle.
Come up here and do it. I'll take you to a race.
Really, I can't. I'm a doctor. I'm cool.
Think your driving can improve? I'll take your word for what a car can do, but I'm not taking anybody's word for what I can do.
I don't want you to hold a bad opinion of Cole. I believe it scares him. He needs reassurance from you that he's okay. After all,
How could you ignore me like that? I wasn't ignoring you.
you're his doctor. See, a driver gets his bell rung and a couple of lights flicker. And loses what he needs more than his eyesight, more than his reflexes, more than anything in the world.
I've raced with my legs broke, heart bruised, eyes popping out of my head like they're on springs.
He loses his need. The need to drive right out there on the ragged edge.
He doesn't believe you can drive anymore.
How long before you find out if you're really good?
You just want to race again.
Oh, you're really lucky.
You get back in that car, you'll die.
So, George, I always like to ask you, how did we get this film? But I like to mix it up when we have a guest. I always think when we have a guest, we should lead with first memories. I think it's a good way to do. We do first memories, then maybe a little bit about what it was like to watch this time, and then you can give us your usual expert trivia. Does that sound? Is that okay with you?
I'll allow it.
He says with a gun to his head. Okay, so Hughesy, what are your first memories of this film?
Well, do you know what? I was thinking about this when I rewatched it. It's like, I think this was probably up there in my top 3-4 movies, along with, Predator, Back to the Future, Commando, I used to love. And I used to kind of repeatedly watch these films. Top Gun, of course, which is the prequel. And I used to just watch it over and over and over and over again. And then I kind of, as these things do happen, I just went years without watching it. Yeah. And then I watched it, I think about 5 years ago for the first time in over a decade, right? And then I rewatched it literally today. And, it was kind of a bizarre experience. If I'm truly honest, I actually thought I would enjoy it more when I watched it. Mm-hmm. And then maybe one of the reasons why I didn't is I've watched this movie so much. I even found myself reciting some of the lines today, and I've not seen it in 5 years. So it's been a huge part of my childhood and growing up and love of movies. I mean, it is what it is, right? It is just, as you say, Top Gun on wheels. And I just, but I did feel a little flat after watching it today. I was like, I wish I enjoyed that a little bit more.
But I would say you needed to watch it with us.
Well, you know,
maybe it is that sort of single watching phenomena. What about you, George?
Well, I was going to say, just jumping back to Hughesy for a second. Is it safe to say you've always had a bit of an interest in American sports? Us as Brits. I mean, you are a very sporty man. You love your sports, but you've always had remember you playing Madden lots on lots of consoles.
Yeah, what did you call me again?
Sports guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, honestly, every single time he's walking in, I'm playing Madden or NASCAR, and he's like,
"Don't forget about Brian Lara cricket."
Brian Lara cricket.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Jonah Lomu rugby.
God, you're good.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, that's the only reason I know of these sportsmen is because they were on the covers of games that you played.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
But have you? I know. Yeah. Do you have a bit of a following? Do you still follow any American sports? Have you ever had much of an interest in NASCAR?
So after I watched this movie, when PlayStation became a thing, one of the first games I bought was a NASCAR game because I kind of wanted to recreate this movie that I'd watched so many times as a kid. And what I realized when I even bought the game was it's nothing like
it's very mundane.
Well, exactly. You're basically just driving around in a circle.
Yeah.
And then actually, despite what the movie says, you're not actually allowed rubbing.
Yeah.
Rubbing's racing. No, rubbing is illegal.
Yeah.
So I remember playing the game and I'm just smashing into other cars like they're doing in the movie.
And getting penalty points.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just getting disqualified all the time. I'm like, nah, this game's not for me. I much prefer the Days of Thunder version of NASCAR.
Tom Cruise lied to me.
What about you, George?
So for me, I don't particularly have a strong first memory of watching this film. I mean, we definitely didn't watch it as much as we did Top Gun and obviously all the other sort of 80s, 90s classics that we've probably covered so far. And obviously, yeah, we've been doing this podcast for a while and it's been on the list because I think this film kind of by association with Top Gun, because it is the same crew returning. So yeah, I remember watching it on video. It definitely wasn't a cinema outing. And the one thing I actually remember is I think there was an Amiga game. There was definitely a game that I think we played on the Amiga because I remember for some reason there's certain things that jump out, like the mellow yellow car and the outfit that he has, and it's only for the last 10 minutes of the film, but that's still really imprinted in my brain of that outfit and
totally agree with that.
And yeah, it's certain things that you pick up. So yeah, I haven't watched this. Hughesy and I were chatting about this earlier, and I haven't watched this in the era of DVD, I don't think. So yeah, it's been a long time for me, but I still remember a lot of key bits out of it in terms of when he's recovering and the wheelchair race and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's classic. Right?
Certain things that jumped out to me. So yeah, I haven't watched this for a long time.
And what was it like going back to it this time?
Yeah,
pretty much as I expected. It's very much a Tony Scott film. I'm a big fan of Tony Scott and what he does with his shots, his shot composition, his lighting, and everything. We've talked about how brilliant he is in the past, and I think that's always enjoyable. You've got obviously Hans Zimmer. There's a lot going right for this film, but it is very patchy. It is very formulaic. You kind of can see that they're almost following the Top Gun formula to a way, but I did enjoy it. It was a fun watch in terms of because it had been so long.
Yeah, and I think for me, similar to Hughesy, I watched this a lot when I was younger. I can remember watching it so well that I watched back in the day certain bits of it and the science of it, about
the slingshot.
About there's obviously the slipstream and about the tires. It got me into racing. Obviously, had my friend David Macklem explaining stuff to me and about the IndyCar, NASCAR, and all of that. And they were trying to force it. There was this great arcade game, which I think was just called Daytona.
Yeah.
And it came on there, was the Dreamcast.
Daytona Racing.
It was a console I didn't have. I played it at a friend's house, which makes it a game that you always wish you did have.
Yeah.
And that was actually really good graphics. But I feel like I've watched this film so much that I have a muscle memory for it. And then this time, going back to it, what I was very surprised about it is, I don't know if it was him doing it then, Tom Cruise, but what he does now is that. And you say it has got the sort of the Top Gun, but this is not it's almost its own genre. It's not a rom-com, and they would follow. They were happening at this time, and it's it's almost like a dramatic action film, but it's like the thing that stood out this time was all of the conversations with Duvall. They're all powerful pieces where they're he's having a crisis of conscience. It's the same thing that he would do in Top Gun. He did in Top Gun, doesn't this? And then there's Cocktail. Yeah. A lot of his films follow that formula, but there's some really good performances. That's what stood out to me this time, is that once your brain accustoms itself to Robert Duvall's diction and you can understand the words coming out of his mouth, you start to enjoy those performances.
He's brilliant in this movie. That's my one takeaway.
Is Robert Duvall rarely not brilliant, I should say. He's always reliable.
Totally. And I remember this was actually the first time I'd ever come across him. I watched I watched that before I watched The Godfather. So next time, when I came across The Godfather, I was like, oh, it's that guy from Days of Thunder. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just, I found he was almost mesmerizing, his performance in this. And he's really, you can't take your eyes off him. Every time he's on film, he's on the screen, you're drawn to him.
No, it's funny. I watched, there's a good retrospective video on Days of Thunder. I think it was only done in the past like 10 years or so. And it's Jerry Bruckheimer says for that role, the Robert Duvall role, on the script, he was just like, nobody talks like this. This isn't a real character. But when Robert Duvall came on board, he was like, oh no, it is. It's totally, he makes it believable. And that's obviously the strength of Robert Duvall as an actor. Yeah. He can just come in and just take a very like dialogue that maybe is nonsensical and no one would ever say, but adds such gravitas to it.
But also, what I noticed about him, he's for me, I learned something. It's like the reason why he's such a good actor, it's what he does when he's not talking. Yeah. There's loads of scenes with him, like where he's just grabbing somebody, or he's pointing, or he's making a face, and that's really good acting. On the flip side, watching something recently with my wife with Claire Danes, she's overacting, turning it up. A face is going everywhere, and it's all about. And it's just
to be fair, nobody pulls a face like Claire Danes can.
But it's just like it's kind of like just calm down. Whereas he's doing, he's not even saying anything, and you can understand the emotion between him.
It's called acting, boy.
No, but some people rely on dialogue, but he's very much like
it's that. You're totally right, and it's that thing that Alan Rickman always used to talk about. He said the best actors are the best listeners, and it's kind of you see them at their best when they're listening or reacting. Rather than dialogue.
Because they're holding the other actor up. And I think, but this is what I want to say about Tom Cruise, because when you look at his recent stuff, like in what he's done with the Mission Impossible franchise, he's like, the film has to have drama in it. It has to have speeches. Stakes, it has to have stakes, and it has to have two people lashing it out with, with certain lines like that. And I feel like he was either asking and demanding for that when he made this film, or he was being taught it by the people he was working with. So, in terms of where we were, how we got this film, George, how did we get this film?
Well, it is very much a Tom Cruise project. So this is before he became the sort of Uber producer. I think Mission Impossible was his first producing gig. But yeah, this is a Tom Cruise passion project. So it was actually during the filming of The Color of Money.
Yeah,
another sports film.
Classic.
Great movie.
Yeah, love it.
Great movie. Of course you do.
I've not seen it.
Paul Newman.
Sorry.
Have you?
Not seen it.
Paul Newman.
But it's all about pool, Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hustling.
Okay.
It's a sequel to The Hustler, right?
It is, yeah. I've not actually seen The Hustler, but
I don't think I have. But
I think I found
Color of Money is a classic.
I think I found out what we might be watching this weekend,
yeah. So, during the filming of Color of Money, Paul Newman takes Tom Cruise to race cars, and through that they are testing a famous guy called Rick Hendrick, his race cars. And in Tom Cruise's first lap was in excess of 180 miles per hour.
Whoa.
And
that's like Formula One speed.
And Cruise is converted. And I think they say on the documentary that as soon as he got out the car, Cruise is screaming, "I'm going to make a movie about this." And yeah, basically, after that point, Cruise fell in love with car driving and racing. And I remember, well, just as a side note, I remember Simon Pegg saying on one of the last Mission Impossible films that Tom Cruise is allegedly, like, even the stunt drivers say, no, he's better than most stunt drivers. He is the best. You're not any safer than you are in the car with Tom Cruise, because he is one of the best drivers in the world. And I think it all started from this love affair in the sort of late 80s. So as a result of that, he falls in sort of social circles of some NASCAR drivers, and he goes out. He's going out for dinner with them, and he's hearing all these crazy, insane stories. And he's just like, there's so much to work with here. So he then takes this idea of a film around, NASCAR racing to his friends, Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson. So obviously we've chatted about them before. They their fingerprints are all over the 80s and the 90s cinema. And obviously, they'd delivered altogether one of the biggest hits of the 80s, Top Gun.
Ever.
So he takes it to them, and they're like, "We love it. It's Top Gun, but in cars."
So they actually said that.
Yeah,
so they knew that immediately.
They knew it. They and there's the other term that I don't know if they came up with, but they referred to, obviously they'd done Beverly Hills Cop. It's like, so that's Top Cop, and then we did Top Gun, and then this is Top Car.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, obviously they'd had an amazing time in the 80s. So they sent Cruise away, and he worked with a bunch of writers, but this film is credited to sole writer of Robert Towne, and Robert Towne is probably most famously for writing the classic film Chinatown. Cruise would go on to work with him quite a bit. He did a bit of work on the first 2 Mission Impossible films.
Mm-hmm. He also did Interview with a Vampire as well, right? I think.
Robert, he might have had some.
Tom Cruise makes sense.
Well, yeah, I think so.
But originally, there was a few other writers involved. So Donald Stewart wrote the original draft. Then Warren Scarron came on. He was one of Tim Burton's writers. I think he did work on Batman Returns and Beetlejuice. He wrote multiple drafts. And then Eric Hughes. But apparently, between sort of, I've read quite a bit around this, and Cruise was not happy with any of these scripts. So Bruckheimer and Simpson decided to pair him up with Robert Towne, and then those two together went on the NASCAR circuit, and they spent a lot of time shadowing the NASCAR crews, getting a feel for the language and the characters, and so much so, a lot of this film is based on real people. So Robert Duvall's character, Harry Hogg, is basically identical to a guy, crew chief called Harry Hyde, who was also one of the film's technical advisors. Cole Trickle was apparently based on a guy called Tom Richmond, who died in a crash similar to the one that Trickle survives. And he also had a physician girlfriend at the time. And then Rowdy Burns and Russ Wheeler are most likely based on famous NASCAR drivers Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. So yeah, there was a lot that they took anecdotally and like, let's put that in the script. So this is all going on. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, so let's get back to Simpson and Bruckheimer. So I've taken a lot of my research from a very entertaining book called High Concept, and it's all about Don Simpson and the Hollywood culture of excess, and that's by a guy called Charles Fleming. I'm going to loan this to Hughesy after this podcast because it is a rollicking read about Don Simpson.
I bet it is.
But as I say, they were obviously kings of, like, they'd done Flashdance, they'd done Beverly Hills Cop, they'd done Top Gun. So towards the end of 1989, their contract with Paramount was running out. And so Paramount were keen to renew that contract with them. So what they did was they gave them a huge deal. They said, right, we'll give you $300 million to make 5 films, and you have complete creative control. So you have script approval, director approval, just make us some hits. But because Simpson and Bruckheimer were so, like, powerful, they were like, right, yep, we'll take this deal, but we want a massive press release announcing this visionary alliance. So they made Paramount take out press ads in all the top American newspapers talking about this dream partnership and how much it meant. And then Simpson came out and was interviewed by somebody. He's like, it's simple. They put up the money, we put up the talent, we meet at the theater. And apparently that pissed off Paramount completely. But yeah, at that point, it was getting to the end of 1989. They'd signed this deal. Tom Cruise comes to them with this idea, and they're like, this is brilliant. We need a film for summer 1990, and you're getting the Top Gun crew back together. Yes, let's make this happen. And Cruise was obviously in demand. They had a limited window. And as such, they got the green light without a finished script. And they were like, yep, we'll work it out. Just go. Here's the money. So the film was greenlit at $30 million. And considering at the time, this a few years, so Top Gun was what, 86, I want to say? So mid-80s. Top Gun was $16 million.
Wow.
Tom Cruise's salary is $9 million for this.
Wow.
So Tom Cruise is basically a third of that budget. So that's the starting budget. Then
they started practicing with the cars.
Yeah. It effectively, the budget doubles. I think some estimates have it down at 70 million at the end.
Whoa.
And Simpson and Bruckheimer took a fee of 9 million each. So you think the original budget was 30 million, and between them they're taking 27 million?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So essentially, yes, there was a lot of money spent on this film. So I don't know where we want to sort of talk about. There's obviously the whole logistics of filming the racing. There's the cars. There's Don Simpson wanted to become, as part of this deal, he wanted, as well as being a producer, he wanted to get into acting, and he wanted to have a role in this film. So there's that to talk about. So I'm conscious I've been talking for a long time.
I think what it makes sense, because you've given us a sort of a feeling,
a basis
of one in. I think when Tom Cruise turns up in this film on his motorbike,
with all the dried ice, and just the way he turns up, it's like, who is this kid? And it's like, I feel the same thing at the same time, like a combined thing. It's like, why does Tom Cruise think he can get away with that? Oh yeah, because he's Tom Cruise. And then I'm like, why did Tony Scott shoot it like that? Because it's Tony Scott. So I feel like we see signature things, but the thing that comes up again and again on this, and I want to talk about the link to other films, is the character actors. Because we watch films today, and they have more, I feel like the leads are doing numerous things, but character actors, because we have TV, we have the streaming thing going on, and so like people can have their own show and then turn up in a film, and it's almost like it's not as big as their show is. So John C. Reilly, who's John
in
C.
this,
right? Who I forgot was in this.
Who's in this, and then I'm just like, oh my god!
John
and
C.
now
Reilly.
it makes so much sense. The whole Talladega Nights,
Exactly right.
and I think he's in Cars as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a voice in Cars. So it's like there's a link in.
You're not thinking of Wreck-It Ralph.
Or maybe he's no. But I think he's in Cars. I think there's a link in all of the racing things. But then you have the Michael
Rooker.
Michael Rooker,
Not Michael Ironside.
but Michael Rooker, who would come back in the recent, with like, oh, who is this great actor? Where's he been all of this time? And it's like
He's always been working.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
But the fact that like he turned it was Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a light shone on him, and it was like, yeah, but I remember this guy from Days of Thunder. Great bad guy. Yeah. Bad guy becomes the character arc for him and Cruise is what makes this film for me.
He's also obviously in Cliffhanger a few years later.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great supporting actors. Carrie Elwes as the
shit,
the shitty bad guy, and this is just not long after his
blonde Russ Wheeler.
Yes,
yeah.
So
the
he's
Princess Bride guy. Yeah.
And this is the first film I think he did after Princess Bride, so that's a real.
I'm gonna be a villain, and then obviously our friend Clark.
Randy Quaid,
one of our favorite comedy actors,
Cousin Eddie,
but he's playing it straight. That's what I like is the fact he's playing it straight. It's like,
I was like, he's talking
the guy from the Griswolds.
Well, no, he does the sleazy used car salesman shtick very well, and obviously let's not forget the former Mrs. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman. This was her breakout Hollywood role. Obviously.
Has she done Dead Calm?
She had done Dead Calm by this point, but I didn't realise Dead Calm was actually an Aussie production, because obviously it's got
Sam Neill.
Softly spoken Sam Neill.
And it's also got
Shut Up Zane.
Shut Up Zane.
Billy Zane. But yeah, Dead Calm was a breakout hit, but I don't think it was a big hit in America, but it kind of put her on Hollywood's radar. And I've got a who's who of Hollywood actresses for coulda, woulda, shoulda. But I think somebody recommended Nicole Kidman to Tom Cruise.
It was on TV a lot.
It was did they get together in this during this? Because weren't they together? Didn't they work together in Far and Away?
No, but they did Far and Away. They did Eyes Wide Shut. But this was when they got together.
Right.
Yeah. Far and Away, I think was
that after that?
Year after this.
Oh, was it?
It was not long after this.
Oh, I thought it was before.
It's not bad for them. It's a good date movie.
Hasn't he got a whole woeful Irish accent? I'm Irish and I've always been Irish.
And I don't want to fight you. Yeah.
Maybe we'll add that for the next podcast we get together. So yes, this was her breakout hit, but yes, they had crazy chemistry and they started dating. But I mean, Tom Cruise has a habit of doing that at the moment, doesn't he?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was dating Hayley Atwell for a while, and then he was dating the lovely Ana de Armas on their latest film, and they've since split up.
Yeah. But he's been doing that throughout his whole career. Katie Holmes, is...
obviously this film is as important for, starting her, she's
still a big actress.
She's still a big actress, big Hollywood royalty, I would say.
Got her own Netflix. She's got her own. She's turned up as the bad guy in kids' films. She's in serious films. She's very well established.
Yeah.
And the only thing that George and I joked about on text watching this is that this was an earlier nose. this because she has clearly. This is one of the things. They're under a lot of pressure to look good. She does look remarkably different today.
She looks very fresh-faced in this. And the other joke I made to you whilst I was watching this is like, why is Tom Cruise dressed like a maitre d'? Like when he's out of his racing suit, he's always wearing a buttoned-up white shirt and blazers. Like, would a race car driver always be? And you said like, it's just his Rain Man wardrobe.
I think he kept the Rain Man wardrobe.
That's a good point, actually.
And save on budget, Tom. We've used it. We've blown it all on Blow and The Officers. What are you wearing? It's fine. Bring your shirt in.
But it was something our dad pointed out when we were watching Cocktail. There's a scene in that with Elizabeth Shue, and because our dad would also, he's not that tall, and there's a scene in this where he walks out of her room and he's head to head with Nicole Kidman, and then I just remember all of the Hello magazine adverts of them with their kids, and she's a head taller than him, so there was clearly, she was on a step, he was on a box. It was the 80s. Yeah, you could get away with it.
I know
it was the 80s, wasn't it?
I noticed there's a couple of times where you can see that she's clearly taller than him, but then they've had to obviously there's times where they're, and it happens. I remember us joking about this in Minority Report. He's having a face-off with Max von Sydow, the famously 6'4" Max von Sydow, and they're having a face-off and they are face to face. No,
he would be almost patting you on the shoulder like a little nephew.
But yeah, let's quickly jump back to
we love you, Tom.
Simpson and Bruckheimer. So in terms of tale of excess. So they basically camped out. They set up a base in Daytona, which is like Florida way, in this hotel. The whole crew was staying there. Simpson and Bruckheimer, or maybe more Simpson, spent $400,000 turning 2 hotel suites into a private gym with equipment recommended by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And a massive sound system. Apparently, Don Simpson had a wardrobe full of Donna Karan dresses in a number of sizes. So if he ever met a girl, he's like, "Hey, you're beautiful. Hey, you want a dress? Yeah, wear this dress, baby."
Did he have anything to do with Pretty Woman? No.
No.
Okay.
So they'd spent for this private gym because, I say, Don Simpson was desperate to become an actor, that he'd been this, very successful producer, but he wanted more. And he had this thing, he's like, well, maybe I can create a role for myself in this film. And so he worked with Robert Towne, and he was going to be a rival race driver, Aldo something.
Yeah.
And because Don Simpson's sort of weight fluctuated a lot, he's like, right, I want to get in good shape. So that's why they spent all this money building this private gym.
Pretty expensive gym membership, $400K.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd think. But then it turns out from this book, Simpson was partying every night, so he was in bed all day.
You shock me.
And so Bruckheimer was having to pick things up. And even Cruise was quoted by saying, yeah, Don attended the script meetings, but wasn't on set a lot. Jerry was always there when you needed stuff to get done. So... Yeah. Jerry's on set, Don's doing the partying, all working out for this part. The script is rewritten every night during filming to meet this tight release date. So they start filming, I think they start getting footage from NASCAR races in late 1989, but they've got a June 6th deadline, release date. So they've got 6 months to get this film done, which...
That's tight. It's normally 2 years. Yeah.
It's usually at least 6 months of filming. And then there's, at least a few months post-production. But as a result, they're editing every night as well. So they're filming, sending the stuff to the editor. But so yeah, they did actually. I think they got footage and had their cars at 3 actual NASCAR races. So
kind of like the Formula One movie in a way, but
yes, massively so.
But you know, they filmed over a season or 2 seasons in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, that's a very interesting comparison because obviously I watched a brilliant behind the scenes thing on that Formula One.
Yeah,
because obviously with technology that it is now, with the Formula One movie, they were taking footage of the race, but then they were doing digital skin overlays of the cars and making all the cars different. But the cars were making all the same movements. They've just reskinned them.
Wow.
Obviously, in this, they can't have that. This is pre-CGI or very early CGI. So they're just filming. They had hidden cameras in the cars and stuff. And even with these specially modified cars with cameras in them, the guys were still like qualifying in the races, which is pretty impressive considering.
It had to be real.
Yeah. So they had, I say, at least 3 races that you could work with, and obviously they had all the crowds, and they had and again that adds pressure to the production of, we need to get all this footage because we've only got a few hours before the proper race needs to start up. And you know, there's that scene where Cruz is airlifted out. That's all done with the crowds and stuff like that. So a lot of crowd management, a lot of production, but the cars were outside of the races were absolutely a nightmare because obviously proper NASCARs are massively expensive. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they took Chevrolets and fitted them with special fiberglass bodies.
I did spot that this time round, if I'm just honest with you.
To resemble stock cars. But the problem was they're razzing all these Chevrolets and they kept breaking down and they were massively damaged. So, and apparently at one point, half of the cars were in the repair shop. So I don't think they'd accounted for how much they had to spend on
to fix the cars.
On the cars alone and to maintain the cars and just all the logistics. Obviously, it's one thing like in Top Gun where you're like, and we talked about that when we did Top Gun, they had all this footage and it is just an editing job of, okay, yeah, make that look a bit more exciting. And then we'll fill in the gaps with some cockpit chat.
And let's show this one again.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you can get it, you can fudge it a bit easier when you've got aerial combat, but when you've got people going round, as you said, Hughes, it's effectively in a circle.
It is.
It's like, okay, we need to have narrative here. And that actually caused problems because it got to the point where the script was in such a bad state. Tom Cruise was reading off cue cards taped to his windscreen whilst driving, and unsurprisingly, he ended up crashing his car. He didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But then they were like, okay, here's an idea. Why don't we feed him lines over the radio? So Robert Towne was giving him dialogue to read as he's going round.
That's mental, isn't it?
But it's just a camera on him in the car driving, so it makes sense.
But at the same time, remember, Carrie Elwes was saying in the behind the scenes that it was it shows like different times that he was told, like, right, start driving, and once you get up to like 100 miles an hour, if you just hold the steering wheel with your knees and then lean over and turn that camera on and then turn another camera on. And it's just sort of like, can't you do this remotely? Yeah. And he's like, it was nerve-wracking, but I just...
100 miles an hour, I'm just going to...
It's like...
Just lean over.
Yeah. Why not just turn them on from the start? I don't understand.
Say film. It was, but it would have been tape. And I think what's crazy...
Well, that's the other thing. They had to keep pitting and changing out the camera reels as well.
I don't know if you guys picked up on this time because you talked about the recent F1 film that we're talking about with Brad Pitt, where you see Verstappen, and obviously Lewis helped...
he's a producer on it.
He helped produce it, and he fed a lot of his own character into the other character in that film. But in this, did you notice it was real life... When they're talking about Cole Trickle, they're clearly the races of the day.
They were.
Because that passed me by when I was younger.
Like Andretti, who in that family has now bought the latest F1 team in a weird twist of fate.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
So I think that's the thing I don't think I got at the time, and obviously as Brits we didn't really have much access to NASCAR, but watching this retrospective. It's become even though it's wildly inaccurate, as you say, it's become so beloved in the NASCAR community because it's one of the rare films. There's not that many.
No, there isn't.
Apart from Talladega Nights, obviously.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Which is a great companion piece to this film.
It is, yeah, isn't it?
And stars also John C. Reilly.
yeah, exactly. Going back to Don Simpson and his burgeoning film career. He apparently was supposed to have this like supporting character role. And at one point, Tom Cruise gets these script pages, and it's a 4-page script scene between Cruise, Robert Duvall's character, and this veteran race car driver, Aldo Varetti. And Tom Cruise is like, what is this scene? And they're like, oh, have you not seen it? This is the scene that Don's going to be in. And when Cruise questions Simpson about it, Simpson just instantly reacts and is like, oh, yeah, it's complete bullshit, isn't it? The writing's terrible. We'll get rid of it. And completely panics. But apparently in the editing room, the stuff they'd filmed with Simpson already, the editors are like, we can't use this. This is like, it's either badly lit or something's off about it. And they were sort of allegedly saying that maybe Tony Scott was self-sabotaging it by saying, let's just light this scene a bit badly and then we can just write it off in the edit.
Oh, really?
So after all this, like $400K on a private gym, he's had like Botox, he's got these tailored racing suits. He's in the actual film for one line. And that's when you, going back to what you're saying about when they're talking about Cole Trickle's comeback.
Yeah.
There's one line and that's from Don Simpson.
But like Mr. Simpson, this is just these pages and pages of pictures of the time machine.
Well, the thing is, like in this book, apparently he had actually auditioned for a few film roles, and the casting directors are saying he wasn't a terrible actor. It was just, I don't know, it was just
probably wanting to do the whole thing, write his own script, shoot his own shit,
and the pressure of it all, being in his own film and all that. But
I can't imagine him turning up on time every day.
Well, I mean, somebody's got
turning up at all.
Somebody's got to lead the party, you know.
What does he do if he gets nervous? Comes back super turbocharged.
There was lots of delays in filming. They're really down to the wire. Normal post-production, I think, takes 5 months. They had 5 weeks. Yeah. And this is one of my favorite bits, is that they had everything in the bag, and I think it was 2 weeks before it was due to 2-3 weeks before it was due to be released. They're like, guys, we haven't got footage of Tom Cruise crossing the finishing line. Yeah. It's like, get back to Daytona. No. And they literally went back, filmed for like 2 days, filmed it, shipped it, edited it, and then it was premiered the following week.
Wow, that's insane. That was something that would happen in the 80s and 90s.
I had no idea. Like, the whole production just seemed so flying by the seat of its pants.
Oh yeah, apparently there's a lot of alleged stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff in this book I've read about, but there's stuff I was reading obviously on IMDb. You take it with a pinch of salt, but apparently there was full-blown arguments on set between Bruckheimer, Simpson, Tony Scott, and Robert Towne about how a scene was going to be shot. Apparently, Robert Towne wanted like a certain barn built another way. That's the other thing. Going back to, we haven't really given any love to Tony Scott, and there's some amazing shots like building that car and that rustic barn with all the light pouring in, and they had these massive like lights on cranes shining, and that's a real barn in, I don't know, Alabama or somewhere.
Yeah, it's mega, isn't it?
Something that Michael Bay was watching and taking notes.
Absolutely. And I think that's what the retrospective's called. I think it's called the Golden Hour, because that's it, you know, like that the opening scenes of just showing the racetrack. And that's the one thing I noticed this time round, is this film has phenomenal sound on it.
Yeah.
It's like really draws you in.
You hear every bumper roll.
Yeah, and the action is amazing.
Yeah,
the action is actually pretty bloody good.
And again, you know, it's a testament to Tony Scott. He was, well, obviously he's not directly doing the editing, but he was a phenomenal action editor.
Yeah, of course.
It was so kinetic. And it draws you in. And I say it's the roaring of the engines and everything. So that was the one sort of, and obviously again, someone else we haven't given any love to on score duties. This is one of the first Hans Zimmer soundtracks.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you said it at the start. no idea.
I just get.
Did you know that?
Is it Leanne Rimes who does the charty one?
Gina McKee.
Gina McKee, who does the Take My Breath Away of this film.
Show Me Heaven.
Yeah. And when that kicks in, you're just like, yeah, man, I love the 90s soft rock. But yeah, Hans Zimmer, Zim Zimmer.
So that was, this was one of his first soundtracks. And again, I think they interviewed him and he was like, yeah, so I think I can make this work. I'll go back and I'll have a think. They were like, no, we need you here in Daytona.
Did he do Top Gun?
No, that was Harold Faltermeyer.
Of course, Faltermeyer. Because I feel like there's serious Top Gun vibes going through the soundtrack. So obviously, Hans showed his intelligence by saying, I'm going to look at Top Gun and I'm going to go with something a little different.
So Harold Faltermeyer was actually offered it because it was like, we've got to get the Top Gun crew back together.
We're getting the crew back together. Yeah.
And he was unavailable. So he turned it down, but he actually recommended Hans Zimmer. And Hans Zimmer, I say, was quite early in his career. But obviously Hans Zimmer would go on to become a massive staple of Bruckheimer Simpson movies, didn't he? Obviously, we think about, is it like The Rock and Pirates of the Caribbean? And I think he scored a lot of Bruckheimer films off the back of it. But he's obviously quite proud of this. And I think, obviously, Simpson, Bruckheimer had that whole thing of, we've got to have the tie-in soundtrack CD, in terms of the additional sales.
We've got to have the chart. We've got to have the love.
Because the Top Gun soundtrack, that was massively successful as well, right?
Still is.
I can remember. No, obviously talking about how Target we were going on a school trip, and there were only 2 albums played.
Yeah,
and one of them was Dirty Dancing, and the other was Top Gun. And I'm sorry, but I loved bloody both of them.
No, so did I.
Two of the best soundtracks of the 80s,
and everybody's happy because the boys are happy, the girls are happy.
The Lost Boys kind of creeped into it a bit.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Lost Boys soundtrack, man.
Tim Capello, sweaty sax guy.
I still believe, Charlie.
I still believe,
especially the saxophone guy.
Okay, so I guess we should probably just say highlights of this film for you boys. Particular highlights for you. For me, you mentioned it earlier, George. It's the combination of the wheelchairs and the rental cars between.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, yeah, it's funny.
I love that.
Wheelchairs. the look on their faces.
The wheelchair race. Apparently, that was like much longer in the original edit. I was reading. I think Michael Rooker saying that they were going through like operating rooms and everything, and then in the edit they were like, "No, let's just have you going down a corridor." That's. And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's one thing." And I thought the stuff with the rental cars, I thought, oh, this is a little bit far-fetched. But apparently that's based on a real story of 2 rival NASCAR drivers in the 50s or 60s.
Oh, really?
They would hire rental cars and they would razz the fuck out of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, I'm just like, okay,
I love that.
enough.
I think it's really good. But that also, for me, was brilliantly shot by... Ridley's brother, by Tony Scott. But it was brilliantly shot. It's like how they're using the scenery and everything and a little bit of dry eyes.
Do you know my the moment which I never found funny when I was a kid, but I could not stop howling today watching it, was when they were doing the sequence kind of when he first becomes a professional racing driver, and he's pretty much going out every race. They're at rock bottom, and then at one stage he's going around, and then he asks to come in, and he says, "Not now, Cole, we're eating ice cream." Yeah. And then he just loses his shit. Have you ever seen a man more desperate for a fucking ice cream in your life?
Again,
he's just he's driving in, getting all the gear
again,
off him.
Apparently that's based on a true story.
Really?
Yeah. But that someone was like, the crew were like, "Yep, we're having ice creams," and the guy pulled in was like absolutely livid.
But yeah, you would.
The one scene that we haven't talked about, which I watched at least half of this with my wife, was when they offer up Tom Cruise when he's on a winning streak. They buy a woman for him.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That is a bit weird because it's like the guys thought you'd like me.
Yeah,
and what for a season, for a week? What's the deal here?
We bought you a woman.
We have a woman dressed as a cop. You can have me. It's like, okay,
and then but all of that is just to build
to
up
set
that.
Up.
Yeah,
when Nicole Kidman, and you basically,
I mean, she definitely-
Tom Cruise just effectively completely sexually assaults her.
Yeah,
in the hospital.
and it's not.
He would be in court.
Was that a Freudian slip?
He would.
Well, but I mean, the police, the hot cop.
Hot cop.
I mean, she's a pro, right?
That's what I'm saying. Total pro.
The guys have got you a pro. But that does two things. It sets up the situation with Nicole Kidman to much hilarity. But I think it also reinforces this brotherhood they have in their team. You know, the fact that they're supporting him. They're happy that he's winning. But I feel like
they're so happy they've pulled their money together to pay for a prostitute.
We can't sleep with you.
Everyone
we can't sleep with you, so we've got you somebody who can.
John C. Reilly wanted to, but we said no. Even though they've got that massive living room on the trailer thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't
You've
get my
obviously
head
not
around.
been enough trailers, but yeah, they have some serious shit in the back of those things. So, George, is there anything else we need to cover before we take a look at Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda?
There's one last thing, and there is a very tenuous connection between this film and the last film we covered, Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Really?
And that is, this film is has a fan of Quentin Tarantino.
Really?
Yes, Quentin Tarantino says it's his favorite big budget racing movie. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Days of Thunder is the movie, okay, right.
Yeah.
Grand Prix and Le Mans should have been. Sure, it had big budget, big stars, and a big director like Tony Scott, but it had the fun of those early movies. I don't think it works if you take the whole thing too seriously. But,
You think?
But yeah, I think he, like us, he is a big fan of the Tony Scott, and as one review said, like the mythicness of it. Like nobody is building a NASCAR in an old flaky barn in the middle of nowhere. They're building it in a lab in Detroit. It's just like, but it looks fucking cool.
100%.
So yes, I thought that was a nice sort of, tangential segue to our last episode. But yeah, sure, why not? Let's get into Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda. What is it, Charlie?
Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda is when George enlightens us about we say occasionally directors, but it's typically actors who are considered for the leading roles, but for some reason, scheduling or just personality clashes did not get the role.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
So who is it this time? You already kind of mentioned that a few people were considered for Nicole Kidman's role. Was this always a cruise vehicle?
Oh, see what you've done there. Like it. I'd say it was a passion project for Tom. So Tom was always in the picture. However, who was going to play his rival, Rowdy Burns, that was ultimately played by Michael Rooker?
Can we guess?
Are we going to say Val? The Val?
Well, I mean, let's get the team back together. No. Sadly, it wasn't Val.
Goose?
Originally, they did actually approach one of the drivers that they consulted with. So he's a legendary NASCAR driver called Dale Earnhardt. Oh. He was offered the role of Rowdy Burns, but he turned it down because he didn't want to play the bad guy, apparently, because he was kind
Ends
of
up
like...
the good guy, though. He obviously didn't read the full script.
Yeah, read the script because
they didn't have a full script.
Script wasn't finished.
However, in terms of Hollywood, Tom Cruise wanted our favorite person in the world, none other than Kurt Russell, for the role.
Oh my God.
That would have been great.
Shut up and
take my money.
But whenever Kurt Russell suggested, we're like, shut up and take my money.
So Kurt Russell is a Labrador. We will go and see that movie.
So for the role of Claire Lewicki, I was reading. Apparently, Nicole Kidman, when she got the part, she said to Simpson and Bruckheimer, it's like, oh well, as she's a neurologist, I'm thinking I should do like some background research into neurology. And they're like, dollface, don't worry about that.
This is the 80s.
We haven't got time for that, baby.
So you're going to need to pick yourself out something sexy. I've got some Donna Karen. What were some Donna Karen dresses over here?
It's got his own like little aisle of TK Maxx. Just got a row of dresses. So yeah, apparently there was like, this is IMDb. So as I always say, take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently all these women were considered for the female lead. Kim Basinger, Sandra Bullock, Alison Doody, Jodie Foster, Sarah Jessica Parker, Madonna, Heather Locklear, Michelle Pfeiffer, Molly Ringwald, Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, Brooke Shields, Sharon Stone, and Ali Sheedy all turned it down, apparently.
Just sounds like my internet history if there'd been the internet. If there'd been the internet at the time, that would probably be my history.
For your ranking of favourite actresses.
Of up-and-coming actresses of the 1980s.
Serious ranking.
On my modem.
Charlie, why are all these actresses on your LimeWire search? Speaking of Princess Bride, Robin Wright, she was first suggested of the role for the role as well, but she was unavailable. And then finally, everyone's favourite madman, Tom Sizemore, was considered for the role of Tim Dayland, played by Randy Quaid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I could see him playing very well. But maybe slightly crazy.
But I think I'm not sure.
I think Randy Quaid was brilliant, perfect in this.
Perfect casting because could he have done the what's the word we use, the
juxtaposition, like the
thing at the end?
Yeah, where he goes,
not the revival. What's the word I'm looking for? It begins with R.
Reversal.
No, just it's sort of like it's like he has these competitive driver and
redemption.
Redemption. There you go. He's redeemed at the end because he's like, I gave them an engine,
and he helps push the car out.
Yeah.
And then finally, in terms of suspicious sequels, so we've talked about it already, but earlier this year, we had the F1 movie, and obviously Tom Cruise had big success with Maverick. That was one of the biggest box office smashes in recent history. So he's in final talks to star and produce a Days of Thunder sequel.
Really?
Being developed alongside a Maverick sequel. And in June this year, Joe Krasinski, who did both Maverick and F1, said his dream pitch is to do a crossover Days of Thunder with F1. Oh, so Cole Trickle and Sonny Hayes, which is Brad Pitt's character.
Oh my God.
They have a past. They were rivals at some point. They've crossed paths.
This is amazing.
They're vampires. That's how they're able to still drive.
Yeah, but he even says, I've heard they had an epic go-kart battle whilst filming Interview with a Vampire. So who wouldn't want to pay to see these two to go head-to-head on a race?
That'd be amazing.
It's called Interview with a V8.
Nice. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Like, yeah, that has reignited the success of Maverick. And I think even, what's his face, Chris McQuarrie, who's Cruise's, go-to writing, directing partner, said, due to the success of Maverick, they are genuinely reappraising previous Tom Cruise.
All of his back catalogue.
Yeah, saying which could, and they said, obviously Days of Thunder is right up there.
Yeah.
So watch this space.
Not so much Cocktail, but yeah, definitely would be up to see.
You mean the film where he's a young, cocky upstart that has a crisis of faith and daddy issues?
Yeah.
No, sorry, that's Top Gun. Oh, no, sorry, that's
There's a comedian who does a great bit on that. Unfortunately, I don't know his name, but he does this whole thing about Tom Cruise is an up and coming, but he has a crisis of conscience. But through the love of a good woman, he finds his way.
Pretty much.
And then he does even a sketch. It's like, he's a Scrabble player. Pretty good Scrabble player too. But then he has a crisis of conscience.
So yes, there we have it. I say we could have more Days of Thunder on the way. Obviously,
That's exciting.
Tom Cruise has a very busy schedule. He's still, I think, due to do that film in space, where they're actually filming a film in space. Oh. He's not getting any younger, so hopefully, if they are doing it, it needs to happen in the next few years.
I've told you once in this episode, he's a vampire.
He is a vampire.
Him and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Not good. And Brad Pitt, they're all vampires, definitely. Anyway, I look forward to seeing his film in space. Maybe is it secretly another Mission Impossible, because that's the one place they haven't been.
No, that's true. But I think he is done, especially with, I think, the last mission wasn't as accepted as warmly as
he's basically just using movies now as an excuse to do stuff, right? He's like, I want to go to space. I'll tell you what, I'll do a movie in space. But it's like I want to chain myself to a fucking aircraft.
I mean, Hughes, he's Tom Cruise. He can do anything.
Well, he is.
He can actually fly the plane, fly the helicopter. Yeah. That's what's nuts.
But the thing is, as I've said before, he is, hats off to him. He is
fair play.
Trying to kill himself in the aim of our entertainment.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that just in the last...
this is obviously the early stages of it, of that addiction for... This is amazing. I want to do this. And obviously, there was loads of stunt drivers for Days of Thunder, but now
he would do it now, wouldn't he?
Everything. He'd do everything.
He would do it now.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what I was saying before. We can see there's elements of him. He's always trying to push the form to another level. And we need people like that. You've got Christopher Nolan trying to do it behind the camera. Let's take it to the next level. You got the recent honorary Oscar.
So literally at the time of recording earlier this week, Tom Cruise finally got an honorary Oscar. It's not at the Oscars. I don't know. It's a lifetime achievement thing, but...
It's an Oscar.
It's an Oscar.
Yeah.
It's an Oscar. And he was an absolute gent about it. So
great speech. Thanked everybody, recognized everybody. I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. And he does not seem to be aging. Still making the films, still doing the stunts, still trying to take it to another level. So whatever you think about Tom Cruise, he is fighting for cinema.
I mean, hands off, look, a lot of the people, Nicole Kidman's still doing a lot of stuff. Michael Rooker, as you said. Hans Zimmer is still in demand. Even, Michael Rooker, as you said, he's done a lot of stuff with Marvel. He's a good friend of James Gunn. So he's it's good to see John C. Reilly. Obviously, sadly, we did lose Don Simpson in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
But yes, this was kind of the film that broke that magic partnership that they had with Paramount, and it wouldn't be, I think, until Bad Boys. So there was a good sort of drought for Simpson Bruckheimer for a good 4 or 5 years.
Do you know what? I was just thinking this before, just before we say goodbye. What was Bruckheimer's and Simpson's relationship like?
Oh, I think it was a very strong friendship. I think it was one of those things that I think Jerry Bruckheimer was always bailing Simpson out. But the thing in from this book, it comes across as that Don Simpson was a creative genius. He had a mind like no other. He could really see that, and he created that what as the book's called, high concept. He could see what audiences wanted and how those 80s films ramped up that action, that romance, there's something that it was always something for the guys and the girls, and it was like he could just tap into what audiences wanted.
Just had a good instinct.
Yeah, and I think Jerry Bruckheimer was the sort of the sensible man, the straight man.
Operation.
Like, okay, I'll you come up with the ideas, I'll run with it, I'll make sure it kind of happens.
So Hughesy, final thoughts.
Well, I mean, I said at the start, I was a bit disappointed when I watched it. Kind of just having this conversation, just kind of
nostalgia.
It is, yeah. And there's nothing better than nostalgia. And actually, just when we were talking about the action in this, actually, I remember just watching it today and some of the scenes, and it's still so visceral. And with the sound we were talking about as well, it still delivers. I just think the only thing for me that I kind of was probably a bit disappointed with was the formulaic narrative. And it was just, I just remember thinking to myself, oh, this is so predictable.
Well, that's it. He's going to win at the end.
Yeah, but I mean...
there's not even any it's like he's going to get back in the car.
Yeah, you do, and
you're almost expecting Tom Skerritt to walk in for the final, for that final pick-me-up chat. You've got it.
And this is
I used to race with your father. No, my dad's my dad's a bad guy in this. Oh, okay.
It's interesting what you said about Quentin Tarantino before, because I remember him talking about this kind of era of movies, and I remember him saying, one of the things I hate about this time in cinema is that you know what's going to happen before, right at the start of the movie, you can predict exactly what's going to happen, and you can't with this. So I was really surprised when you said that this is one of Tarantino's favorites.
I think he's tapping into the Tony Scott mythicness of it.
Yeah, I get it.
And it is very much an American dream. As I say, it seems to be both loved and a bit sort of reviled by the NASCAR community, because obviously it made their sport even more famous. It was, it's a huge $1 billion thing anyway. but they champion it, but at the same time they're like, well, it's completely unrealistic. And I think, for Tarantino, he just sees the mythicness of it, the Americana.
But I like him giving his I don't know, just his thoughts on that. Like I think he recently shared with me the thoughts he has about Gremlins 2. He loves that film. He's like really? The creativity behind it. Yeah, because we're gonna do. What about a gremlin that does this? What about a gremlin that does that? He's like, the creativity of that film is like, you know what? It's like, he hates the idea of a sequel, and he's like, he loves what Gremlins did. He was like, okay, we're going to have a gremlin that's made out of electricity.
We're just going to tear up the rule book.
We're just going to do everything. So I think that's what he's doing with Tony Scott, saying, I love his films, I love the way he does it, and it's like, wow, you're going to make a film about race car driving, NASCAR driving. You've got Tony Scott, you've got Tom Cruise. I don't think you're going to get
interesting as well. Just through this conversation, I never thought about it before we came across it, was actually how much this film probably influenced the Formula One movie in terms of the production.
100%.
I didn't even think of that.
Even the opening scenes of F1. It's the car going around the track at sunlight.
Exactly.
No. You and I, because Charlie and I, it was I think the last film we saw together. Charlie was over and we watched it over the summer. And it was the one thing that I think we both said, this is just a glossy remake of Days of Thunder. Yeah. Essentially, he has a young protege, and you can kind of see it almost like
the team.
It was almost like an abandoned script to Days of Thunder 2. In a way, because he is a washed up, maverick renegade driver that answers to nobody.
No, it's interesting.
But good movie. I do actually, I think. It may be sacrilege, but F1 is the better movie.
I agree. I really,
it's more polished.
I really liked the F1 movie. Obviously, I'm a massive F1 fan anyway. But
we talked about this film costing $70 million. Yeah. I think F1 cost a little bit more. Even adjusting for inflation, it probably cost a little bit more. Yeah. But F1 has a lot more money behind it. But it's actually, we talked about Hughesy being a sport guy. Yeah. And we've talked about it a few times on this podcast where, like, Happy Gilmore made the trip across the pond. This did. But every year, I don't know if it's still the case now, but when we were coming up, like 80s and 90s and noughties, the US was generating 10, 20, 30 sports films every year. Yeah. And so I think that's what you have to give this film respect, is that there were loads of other films, maybe not about NASCAR, but about sport, about baseball, about basketball. And Happy Gilmore made it. This made it. And so, and Space Jam also.
But it did help when you've got one of the biggest, even then, the biggest film stars.
Yeah.
On the front cover. Yeah. Okay. Well, a big thank you to our guest. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast, Hughesy, as always.
Next time we've got Tom Cruise or Sean Connery, we know
we might let you cover something else. Yeah. Who knows?
We've still not done an Arnie one yet. I think
we're running low on the.
I know. Yeah.
What do you mean? We haven't done a Razor. We haven't done. Anyway, we'll find. We are getting to the bottom of the Arnie barrel.
We'll find something
next week.
We still haven't done Conan. That's the next big Arnie one.
Not a lot of dialogue, but okay, let's do it. Okay, well, for this episode, we have had
Andy Hughes.
Thank you for coming on. I've been Charlie McGee.
I've been George McGee.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you later.